Our next guest's televised testimony before the January 6th committee last year cast serious doubt on the highly professional, by-the-book reputation of the Trump administration.
The valet had articulated that the president was extremely angry at the Attorney General's AP interview and had thrown his lunch against the wall.
Now she's spilling all the ketchup in this new memoir, Enough. Please welcome Trump White House survivor Cassidy Hutchinson. Now I'm going to tell you, you're not under oath, so don't worry. How are you?
I'm under oath enough. I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Is this weird for you, this experience of being now on a book tour? You're very young. You were working in the White House. You're suddenly on TV testifying in front of Liz Cheney. And now you've got the #1 book in America right
now. It's surreal. I would be lying, and I'm very much so about being honest and forthcoming, but it's not something I really ever expected. But
for those who don't know, you were the chief of staff to the White House chief of staff, Mark Meadows.
In essence.
In essence, yes. You saw many things. You shared those things with the committee, which did not thrill your former employers. Yes?
That's a fair assessment.
Some of the things you shared, that Mark Meadows and others suspected there would be violence on January 6th before there was violence, that Trump wanted to go to the Capitol with the crowd and physically attack the Secret Service driver trying to get control of the vehicle, which he denies, of course. Trump said he did not care that the J6 protesters were armed because they weren't there to hurt him. And he also told aides that he thought Vice President Pence deserved to be hanged. And you were there for all of that.
Sounds like fiction, doesn't it?
It sounds like a ridiculous book, is what it sounds like.
Unfortunately, that was the reality of our lives at the point. But, and that's, Jimmy, sort of why I came forward to share the truth and be more forthcoming with the committee after I hadn't been. And I've been very forthcoming about that.
You hadn't been why?
Forthcoming with the committee?
Yeah.
So after January 6th, I was very outspoken still during my tenure at the White House about my disdain and our accountability for what happened on January 6th. Didn't go over well with a lot of my colleagues, but there was this year and a half in between where, admittedly, I wrestled morally with what to do, because on one hand, I wanted the truth to be out there desperately. But on the other hand, there is this notion of loyalty in Trump world, what I refer to as Trump world, which is Donald Trump and his associates or whoever is surrounding him on that given day, because it fluctuates and changes.
Yeah, right.
But, there is a pressure to stay loyal, especially when you're in the circle of trust, and that's the position that I had. And I'm not proud of it, and I have held myself to account to it, but coming around to being more forthcoming with the committee after having a Trump-appointed counsel where I felt and was counseled to not be as forthcoming. I had a crisis of moral conscience, to say the least, with it. Maybe a little bit more, it might be too generous with it, but it's important for the country to hear the truth.
You were provided with a lawyer by Trump's people.
I was, but I also had spent about 2 months, so the committee had said that they were going to subpoena me. I was not formally served the subpoena. So I spent about 2 months desperately searching for an attorney that would either work pro bono or at a low cost. I wasn't working at the time. Trump kept me on payroll for several months after the administration ended, though I wasn't really working for him, so that's a big question mark. But, I wasn't working at the time. I didn't have financial resources. Mm-hmm. But that effort was fruitless.
How does it, you were 20 when you got caught up in this world. How did you get caught up? Because you seem like an intelligent person. How did you...
Are Republicans not intelligent, Jimmy?
Well, some of them are.
What's your answer?
I think that making the decision to go work for Donald Trump is maybe not the brightest.
No, and I understand that sentiment, but I also, I wouldn't be giving people credit who were intelligent that worked for him. And so, but speaking for myself and with my story, you know, I grew up in an environment where my biological father idolized Donald Trump. I'm from New Jersey, very proud New Jersey resident, former resident. But, you know, so, and I voted for him in 2016. I considered myself a Republican. I was not raised in an overly political family at all. I'm the first person in my family to graduate college or can go to college. I voted for him in 2016, but it was really the first Trump rally that I attended where I understood the pull. And it's something that I still struggle to put into words, especially to people that haven't been to one. But, you know, I'm standing there, I'm fairly close to him. I did have an internship on Capitol Hill that summer. But I'm standing there and I'm looking around and I see all these people that I felt I could relate to. And it was in that moment, and this isn't in the moment, not now. I have a different perspective now. But I was looking around and it was almost in that moment like something clicked for me, like that he was there to represent people like I was accustomed to growing up around. And it was just this magnetism that I felt. And at the same time, I did feel a draw to public service. Like I said, I had an internship on Capitol Hill that summer. And so just naturally things progressed for me. And I used to say I was in the right place at the right time, and that's how I got elevated to my role. You know, now I was at the wrong place, the wrong time, wrong place at the right time. I don't know. But, you know, all of it said, I don't regret my service in the Trump administration. You know,
How often did the president throw ketchup at the wall? This was a regular.
He really just launched
this is a regular
it
occurrence.
It's like he would launch the ketchup. So Donald Trump has I don't know if you know this or if anybody's, I don't know, maybe people know it, but he does have a very potent fear of being poisoned.
Did not know he had a fear of being poisoned.
Well, now you do.
Uh-huh.
So he uses and prefers the small Heinz glass ketchup bottles because he likes to hear his valet, whoever is serving him his meal, he likes to hear the pop when you...
Really? That's why?
Yeah.
I thought it was because his hands were so little, it seemed like a real ketchup bottle. That's for poisoning, huh? Do you think he got this fear of being poisoned from all the ex-wives, or where did...
Or is it Russia? I don't know.
No, I don't think Russia's poisoning him.
Yeah. Just a sense, though. No, so but sometimes it would happen once or twice a week, sometimes more. Sometimes it'd be a week or so lull, but then there would be a bad news story. But it wasn't just launching the food and the plates and the porcelain at the wall. It was also sometimes just flipping the tablecloth.
When Trump suggested that we inject bleach into our bodies to fight COVID, did you guys know that was coming?
It was strongly encouraged for him not to suggest that
someone
to the
said to
news
him,
media.
don't mention the bleach? And when somebody would say don't, whatever, did you always know there was a real good chance that he was going to go with that?
I think some people were naive that when you tell him not to do something, he is going to want to do it more.
And they would eventually learn that lesson, or they would keep doing that?
Probably not. Look what's still happening. He's still tweeting out profanity and threatening to kill former General Mark Milley. So clearly he doesn't listen to people very well.
Did you hear other things that you guys told him not to say and then that he didn't say?
Oh, I mean, it happened all the time.
It happened all the time.
But, you know, when I was writing the book, I was deliberate in what I decided to write about. I could write a lot, and I'm sure we could talk for a very long time about what happened.
Yeah.
Where's the clock? You told me there's a clock.
There are no clocks. It's like Vegas. It's like a casino here. Right?
Oh, you're making me nervous.
You worked this. Okay, I do want to ask you something non-Trump related. You worked with Matt Gaetz and Kevin McCarthy, who
a lot of other members too. But yes, I did have close working relationships.
But these guys are now big characters in the soap opera that's going on, and a lot of people say, "Oh, there's personal animosity between those two." You witnessed that firsthand.
I did.
Would you share that story with us?
So we're at Camp David one weekend, and where all good things happen, all diplomacy happens, including this incident. So we had finished watching a movie with the president in the cabin that has...
What movie was it? Do you remember?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Okay. Did he like it?
It's one of his favorites.
Okay, all right. Well, Quentin Tarantino will be thrilled.
Really?
I think so.
Hopefully. So Kevin invites us all, or not, he invites several individuals, including members of Congress, back to his cabin. Matt Gaetz was not included. I was one of the last people to arrive, so when you're there, you have golf carts, and you have your name on a golf cart, so you have an assigned golf cart. Matt, I don't know if he had had too much to drink or what he was thinking, but he had only seen my golf cart with my name on it. So he came up and knocked on the door. So Kevin went and opened the door to his cabin where a lot of people were congregating and drinking and having fun like people do when they're not working the halls of Congress. Mm-hmm. And Kevin opens the door, and it's Matt leaning against the doorway. And he stands up very straight immediately, and Kevin asks what he's doing. He goes, "This is Cassidy's cabin." "No, this is mine." "Matt, what are you doing here?" So I go up, I'm like, "Matt, what do you want?" "I was wondering if you could show me where your cabin's at." I was like, "Matt, it's a circular driveway. All the cabins are labeled. You know where you're staying." So Kevin looks at Matt and says, "Get lost, Matt." And just slams the door in his
He kicked him out of the cabin.
Yeah, Matt was not welcome.
And then Matt Gaetz got him kicked out of the house.
What goes around comes around.
I guess so. Wow. Yeah. Wow, this is. Do you have another book like in mind? I mean, you could probably write 3 or 4 of these, right?
I think I'm clocked out of the...
That's it? I feel like I could squeeze another book out of you, if, you know.
We already upped the page limits of this one. So.
I mean, there's so many other things. I haven't talked about his multiple lunches the president would eat.
Well, that was because some of them ended up on the wall.
Oh, wow, okay, that makes sense. All right.
But also, he doesn't like to eat in front of other people. I don't know why.
Is it true?
So.
He doesn't like to eat in front of other people?
Yeah.
Oh, he sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for testifying. You did the right thing, and this is the book. It's called Enough. This is about... This book title, in case you don't know, when the president ordered his second lunch, Cassidy said, "Enough," and then named the book. Cassidy Hutchinson, everybody. We'll be back in a little